Hello, and how is everyone today? My name is Jared Johnson, the Jared J. Joining me again is Talmadge Rodger Varnado the third. Indudablemente, always great to have you here. So, Talmadge is the third, but we're going to be talking about the 10 today. That is the top 10 quarterbacks currently in the NFL.
Purposely trying to confuse.
We each have our own list. As always, I do not know his list. He does not know mine. I have no doubt there will be some overlap. It'll be interesting to see where we have everybody ranked and how different that might be. I will say for me, and you can say if this is how you ranked your guys or the criteria, I didn't go too much. Actually, I didn't go at all by the current 2025 season because we're very early in it. I looked at career, but primarily the last few years, because this isn't a top 10 all-time list. Otherwise, I would have looked at career more in depth. But I did look at that. I took that into account. So we'll talk some about career.
I did mine more off of feel, combination of numbers, playoff success, and to be honest, just perception. So I'm admitting mine is not scientific at all.
Gotcha.
So that's why if anybody argues with it, you're welcome to do so. This is my list.
Yeah.
Especially, and I was telling you, especially the bottom half of the list, there's going to be some people on the list that you're going to be like, why are they on it over this guy? And I really don't have a big argument for it.
Yeah.
I also didn't take a historical look in most cases. Like there's a couple of quarterbacks that if you go by their career, they should definitely be in the top 10. But
we are
not
talking about top 10 current.
So
that could be different. And I'll go ahead and throw this out. Even though we are talking about just kind of current and maybe the past few years, there's, if you follow the channel, you know that there's probably one exception to what I'm about to say. And if you see the shirt that I'm wearing, hardly any, I didn't give too much consideration to quarterbacks who'd only played a year or two. If they were good, no, I gave consideration. Not many of them made the cut, is what I'll say. Just because.
I'll say the same thing.
Yeah. I just didn't think they really belonged there.
And there's one of them, had we done this last year, that the newer quarterback would be on my top 10 list, but based on the last year and a half, he's not. So, and you can probably figure out who that is. There's not too many.
Yeah. That, I think maybe that's, but we'll get into the guys that almost made the cut as we go on. So, Talmadge, why don't you kick us off? Who's your number 10?
My number 10, and it pains me to say this because I'm not a fan of this player, although he's won me over, but I'm still not in love with the guy.
He's won you over, but you're still not a fan.
Yeah, he's won me over as far as I can't deny what he's doing.
Okay.
But coming into the league and coming in from the draft, I didn't think much of him. I thought he was really overrated, and the first part of his career, he really proved that. Very streaky player. But I can't argue with what he's doing now, and that's Baker Mayfield. If you go by the last year and a half or so, well, actually the last year and 3 or 4 games, he's put up the numbers.
Since he's been with Tampa Bay.
And his team is winning, and they've got a good run game to support him, and he doesn't make a lot of mistakes like I thought he would. He's always had the big arm. I never questioned that. But he's really turned his career around, and like I said, won me over because I was not a fan at all, but I can't deny what he's doing.
Yeah,
so
and he's a guy that you saw some tools and potential early on, but heck, 5 years ago, I would have laughed. I would have been like, he doesn't belong in this conversation. But since he's been with Tampa Bay, I concur with you. How do you leave him out? My number 10 is a guy that's got a little more longevity, Matthew Stafford. He, to me, and this is not career, but even right now, he's 37 years old. He's still, I consider him top 10. I've got him as my number 10. He's still playing. Last season, at age 36, he had 3,762 yards passing, 20 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. He's one of a very small number of quarterbacks that has had 5,000 yards in a season. That was his third year with him and Calvin Johnson. Had over 5,000 yards, 41 touchdown passes. He's gone over 40 touchdown passes a couple of times. I think he belongs on the list. He may not be the most dynamic player that there is, and he's one that may not have too many years left. But as of right now, I consider him my number 10.
I'll give you a sneak peek. He's much higher on my list.
Interesting.
Much
Okay,
higher.
okay. So Talmadge, with everything I said about him, apparently Talmadge does think of him quite a bit higher. Okay, interesting. So Talmadge, who is your number 9?
The young man that replaced him in Detroit, Jared Goff, is my number 9. Again, another player early in his career, his first year or two, he looked like a good player. I think his third year, he kind of fell off.
And so much hype coming out of college.
Yeah, and I kind of wrote him off. But in fact, to be honest with you, he was a throw-in in that trade. I mean, they had to have a quarterback. That's the only reason why he was traded to Detroit, in my opinion. It wasn't because they saw something in him. Or I'll put it this way. I think when they traded for him, they thought he was going to be a placeholder. They had to trade Stafford.
I think so too.
Let me just we have to have a quarterback, and then we'll figure out what we're going to do.
We're rebuilding anyway.
Yes,
Let's just
yes.
get this guy to get us through a year or two, and let's look at the draft. I think that's what they were
doing.
doing.
He has surpassed that by leaps and bounds. Now, he still has his flaws. Don't get me wrong. Like any quarterback, but him specifically, if you get pressure on him, it bothers him a lot.
And he's one of those guys that's not very mobile, so yes, it will.
Yeah, but in this system that he's in, he's put up the numbers. He's proven himself. And honestly, if he was the quarterback of my team, and my team is horrible, we'd win a lot of games.
No, I do not disagree.
We win a lot of games.
And he is talking about Talmadge's Tennessee Titans.
Well, with this roster, he might not win a lot. But I'm saying if we had him as a
If you
quarterback,
would have had him over the years,
we wouldn't have had to worry about getting a quarterback in
yes.
the draft, is my point. With this roster, he couldn't do much either because we just don't have a lot of talent.
No, but if you had him for the past few years, you didn't have to draft Will Levis and Cameron Ward.
In fact, as good as Tannehill was for the Titans a few years ago, if they had Goff instead the way he's playing now, we might be talking about more success than we had. So he's really won me over because I didn't think a lot of him at all that second or third year that he was in the league. Even that year he took them to the Super Bowl, I was like, they have a good defense. They got good players around him. But in Detroit, I can't argue with what he's done.
And I will say, talking about the Stafford trade, and I think I've talked about this before, it really worked out really well for both of those teams. Both those quarterbacks have flourished with their new teams.
Because the Rams got a Super Bowl out of it, and a lot of people argue Detroit blew a chance to get one last year.
Yes. So,
and largely because Goff didn't have a great game, but I can't argue with what he's done. And again, he's like Mayfield. He's kind of won me over.
Yeah. And here's the interesting thing. Here's our first overlap. Number 9, I have Jared Goff.
Okay.
For largely a lot of the same reasons. I'll quickly go through. He's currently 31 years old. Last season, 2024, he had 4,629 yards passing, 37 touchdowns, 12 interceptions. Those are some pretty darn good numbers. Now, you can put those numbers up on a losing team. People won't care as much. But Detroit was 15-2 last season.
And they're going to be good
That
this
system
year.
that he's in, those weapons around him. But if you take him out and put a lesser quarterback, Amon-Ra and Laporta and Gibbs, they're not as good if you don't have
They might be good because they got a lot of good players.
They'd be good, but I'm saying you put a lesser struggling quarterback there, that team's not flourishing
and
like
I'll
they
say
are.
this. I think Jared Goff has proven he's more than just a system quarterback or a placeholder.
100%.
For sure.
Because I agree with you. When the Lions got him, I think they were going. And remember, Dan Quinn was brand new.
Yeah.
Not Dan Quinn.
I know you're
That's
talking
the
about.
Commanders.
Yeah.
Dan Campbell.
Yeah.
He probably did say, this guy's good enough to get me through a year or two.
And we'll
I'm struggling anyway. Let me go ahead and look at who's coming up in these next couple drafts. He don't need to worry about that now.
No.
And Goff is 31, but Tom Brady and Tom Breeze have...
The way they're playing now, he could play 6-7
Tom
more
Brady
years.
and Drew Brees have proven you can play at that position at a high level even into your 40s.
Yes.
Goff may still have several good years left. All right, Talmadge, who do you have as your number 8?
My number 8 is Justin Herbert.
Okay. I'm going to angle my screen because I've got my number 8 on the screen.
I think with Justin, the thing I like, he's got to win the playoffs, which he hadn't done. I grant you. And there's still some flaws there. But when you look at purely passing the ball and his ability to run, just on skill set alone.
He's not a guy that's going to kill you running the ball, but he can do it.
I disagree. He might not be a... See, I think a lot of times people think when they think to run, you've got to be Josh Allen, you've got to be Lamar. I'm not saying that. To me, he's like a Patrick Mahomes type runner. If he needs to
I'll
get a
give you
first
that,
down,
yes.
he'll tuck it and run. If he needs to scramble a little bit to avoid the rush, because to me, running quarterback doesn't mean he's going to be Michael Vick. I don't want my quarterback doing that, to be honest with you. Because if you're a quarterback, why are you leaving the pocket in the first place? Your main job is to be in the pocket and avoid the rush, period. I'm sorry. That's your job. And he does that well. And if he needs to get that key first down, he will tuck it and pick it up. And so I think his running ability, his scrambling ability, his elusiveness in the pocket, which is more important to me, and then he's a pure passer
He's
as
a
well.
very,
And he did it from day one. His rookie year, he came in and put up numbers. Now,
he started right away, and
the only reason why I won't put him higher is that playoff success has not been there, but that will come, I think. I haven't seen nothing that shows me it won't happen for him.
and he's still a young guy. He's like,
He's
what,
very
26,
young.
maybe 27?
Yeah. So he's my number 8, and really, like I said, the rest of my list going forward was easy to pick. Easy to pick.
So at my number 8, we do have another overlap, just out of order. I have Baker Mayfield.
Okay.
So I'll back up to the 2018 draft. I just want to say this real quick because when I discovered it, I thought it was pretty interesting. He was the number 1 overall pick, Heisman winner, went to the Cleveland Browns. The 3rd overall pick, Sam Darnold to the New York Jets. The 7th overall pick, Josh Allen to the Buffalo Bills. The 10th overall pick, Josh Rosen to the Arizona Cardinals. 32nd overall pick, Lamar Jackson to the Baltimore Ravens. Those 5 guys all drafted in the first round. Early on, it looked like some of them weren't going to succeed. In fact, I remember Cliff Kingsbury was the Cardinals coach. He said that year, Josh Rosen is my quarterback. Unless we get the number 1 overall pick next year and then I get Kyler Murray. What happened? Exactly that. So Josh Rosen didn't even last but a few years in the league. And Baker Mayfield and Sam Darnold, they were both thrown into the fire right away. After a few years, they were, bad situations. After a few years, they were kind of thought of as being afterthoughts, jokes. Darnold, they were both in Carolina at the same time at one point. Both of those guys, now that they've gotten in better situations, have completely turned things around. And Baker bounced around. He's a good example of perseverance and just an example of sometimes it just takes the right situation. Because his 2 years with Tampa Bay, he's gone over 4,000 yards both seasons. Last year, 4,500 yards, 41 touchdowns. He did throw 16 interceptions. So I will say that's something he needs to work on. He's another one that can run pretty well.
Yes.
He's not a Lamar Jackson, but a lot of what you said about Herbert and
tuck and
Mahomes,
run when he has
Baker
to.
Mayfield does the same stuff.
And he's not afraid to do it. That's the thing I like.
He's not.
He's very good at understanding when he needs to run. And,
Yes.
when he commits to running it, he commits
will do
to it.
it.
He's not
Yeah.
hesitant. And some quarterbacks, they're still trying, okay, should I? No. Once he decides he wants to tuck it and run, he's off.
So Baker, a few years ago, of course I would have laughed at the notion of putting him this high. I can't deny, I have him a little higher than you had him number 10, right?
Yeah.
I've got him number 8. I can't deny putting him somewhere in the top 10.
Yeah.
He's proven too much since he's been in Tampa Bay, and he also was only 30 years old. He might have several more good years, and if he stays with Tampa Bay and stays healthy, why wouldn't he continue?
I think like
this
most
level of
quarterbacks,
success?
he does need a good running game, which they have. And that I'm not knocking him because most quarterbacks need a good running
it
game.
always helps.
But him specifically, as long as he's got a good running game, I think he'll maintain.
Why wouldn't he?
Yeah.
It's just. Let's see. So we're to your number 7, right?
My number 7 is
Jaden Daniels. All right.
And I know I said this list was easy for me to make, or easier than I thought. I'll admit this one was one of my struggles because I could have talked myself into putting him higher.
Mm-hmm.
But one of the reasons why I didn't is because he's only done it for the 1 year, like you kind of mentioned. Now, if I go by talent and what I saw last year and how dynamic he is, I would have placed him higher, but I just couldn't bring myself to do it because we had another quarterback just 2 years ago, C.J. Stroud, who I thought would definitely have been in my list.
Pretty much everybody would have thought
here's
that.
a sneak peek. Yeah. He's not in my list.
Mine either.
And so that's why I didn't put Daniels higher. But to me, you can put a bullet by his name. It's straight up from here.
Oh, I don't see any way.
But to take his team to the conference championship, to have a lot put on him because that roster is not the greatest. It's gotten better, but it's still not.
They've got some weapons, but
and they've made some trades. But last year, No one expected them to do what they did.
At minimum, they were a year ahead of where you expected.
And
minimum.
I'd say 2 to 3 years, to be honest with you. But when you have your quarterback and you have your coach, that gives you that big head start. He's so dynamic. He's a guy that could be in the top 2 or 3, and that's saying a lot, because that top 2 or 3, we might not have the same order, but I guarantee you we've got the same players. We'll probably have the top 3.
I'd be shocked if we don't. So we'll see.
But I'm saying that's how much I think of him.
Yeah.
To say that anybody could crack that, I think he can. I just couldn't put him there yet.
No, and you'll see when I get to my end of my list. I am a big fan of Jaden, but I agree with everything you're saying. But to go from 4-13 to 12-5 and in the conference championship in 1 year, to get thrown in, you're the number 2 pick. They expected him to help turn that franchise around, but not even they expected it in 1 year. And my goodness, take him out of that equation.
It's a whole different deal.
There's still a struggle.
And I'll take it a step further. I know Philly blew him out in the championship game. I know that.
Yeah.
But guess what? It wasn't because of the way Jaden Daniels played.
That's true.
He didn't give that game away. They
wasn't the reason.
They
couldn't stop Saquon, and they had turnovers. Yeah.
And
they got the rear ends kicked, but without the turnovers, and if they could have somehow contained Saquon, that could have been a whole different game. So I do concur there. All right, so my number 7, we do have another overlap, but I got this guy a little bit higher, Justin Herbert.
Okay.
I've got to run through some things that Talmadge didn't mention just because I know about him, but when I was doing research, I didn't realize everything I'm about to say. So he holds multiple NFL records.
Oh, yeah.
So everything I'm about to name, these are not Chargers franchise records. These are NFL records. Most passing yards in a quarterback's first 2 seasons, 9,350. Most passing yards in a quarterback's first 3 seasons, 14,089. Most passing yards in a quarterback's first 4 seasons, 17,223. Most passing yards in a quarterback's first 5 seasons, 21,093. Most completions in a quarterback's first 5 seasons, 1,945. Most touchdown passes by a rookie quarterback, 31. Most total touchdowns by a rookie quarterback, 36. Most 300-yard passing games by a rookie quarterback, 8. Most completions by a rookie quarterback, 396. Most games with at least 3 touchdown passes by a rookie, 6. Most total touchdowns in a quarterback's first 2 seasons, 77. First quarterback to record 30 touchdown passes in each of his first 2 seasons. Most completions in first 50 NFL games, 1,316. Most consecutive seasons of 4,000 passing yards to begin a career, 3.
I didn't know all those, but I knew a lot.
I knew some of them, but then when I started looking, I was like, my goodness.
He's really good. I mean, like I said, the only reason why I would subtract him a little bit is the lack of the playoff success.
Yeah.
But if you just go by his performance, you could easily have him higher.
Well, and I think anybody that has anything negative to say about him, it's going to be that.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll say this. Last year, the last 2 years, his numbers have been down a little bit. He was injured in 2023, played only 13 games. Last year, he played all 17. But they started out the season with this mindset, we're going to pound the ball, we're going to pound the ball, we're going to pound the ball.
Coach.
Then they opened Herbert up as the season went along. But last year, 3,870 yards, 23 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. But then in the playoff game against Houston, he throws 4 interceptions. Yeah. So that's where people will
more interceptions in that game
than he did the whole season. That's why I had to mention that. His second season in the league, he had 5,014 yards, 38 touchdowns, 15 interceptions. I mean, the guy is a tremendous quarterback. I think the team's success, like Talmadge said, that's about the only thing to point to. But he's in his 6th season. He's 27 years old. They're building better around him. They've got Omarion Hampton, who's an absolute beast.
They got a coach.
They've got Jim Harbaugh. They've got weapons. As the receivers. Their defense is pretty good. Whether that team's success, how far it comes, I don't know. But if this guy stays healthy, and we talked about Baker Mayfield and Jared Goff may have several years left. Well, Herbert's 27. As long as he doesn't have a career-ending injury, my goodness, where is he going to end up? You talked about Jaden rising, and I don't disagree. I got to say the same thing. When you said this with Herbert too, but I got to say the same thing. Whether Herbert will get into the top 3 until some guys retire, I don't know.
And you
But
could make the
he's-
argument now. It's just
He's climbing, and he's in that realm. So
because I could literally say I could have put him at 4.
Wow.
I could have.
And
didn't.
From a certain perspective, I won't even disagree. Obviously, neither one of us had him that high, but I'm not gonna sit here and go, come on.
Yeah.
Like I see what you mean. All right, so that was my number 7. Talmadge, who do you have as your number 6?
This one might be a little controversial, but I've gotten to the part where you just can't deny it anymore because of team success, and the guy can run and throw. Jalen Hurts. It's hard for me to put him there, to be honest, because I never thought I would.
Interesting.
He was a second-round pick. He had some college success at Alabama and at Oklahoma. I'm not saying he didn't.
Right.
But I didn't envision this. And it's gotten to the point where I just can't deny it anymore.
Yeah,
So
it's hard to...
I've got him at 6 because of team success and because he's not the best thrower of the football, but he can throw it. He's not the best runner of the football, but he can run it. And
Amongst quarterbacks, he's one of the better running. Yeah.
but he's not the best.
No.
But he's in the top 5, I'd say, for running the football.
Yeah.
But not in the top 5 in throwing it necessarily. But they got the weapons around him. He doesn't lose games for you. All he does is win. He's got the resume. And again, I'll say it one more time. He just got to the point where I couldn't deny it anymore. So he is my number 6.
Okay. Well, Jalen Hurts is also my number 6, largely for the reasons Talmadge named. And some people don't remember this, but Jalen Hurts and another guy who I suspect will be in our top 3 that we'll mention later, coming out of college, the big thing on both of them was they're really just an athlete. I don't know if they're an NFL quarterback. They would probably have to move to receiver. Like Talmadge said, Hurts was a second-round pick. None of that has mattered. Like he's in a system now that accentuates where his strengths are. And I'll say his numbers real quick from last year. They're not mind-blowing. 2,903 yards, 18 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. But he always gets you 600 to 700 yards rushing. He's going to get you double-digit rushing touchdowns. And they've got such good weapons. They got a tandem of great receivers who don't even always put up huge numbers because they spread that ball out so much. Saquon runs the ball. They rely on that defense. Hurts is just he's a great quarterback in that system. But if you were to put him somewhere else where he needed to do more, I don't doubt that he would. His past numbers might not ever be Justin Herbert's level.
Yeah, right.
But he would do I think he could do more and do what he needed to do. So I'm comfortable putting him number 6.
I'll tell you how far he's come to me. I always thought him coming into the league, I never thought he should change positions. I wasn't one of those guys.
I didn't either.
But I always thought he'd be a good career backup. That's what I thought he would be. I didn't see him as a starter, so I'll be honest.
I'm not too far from that. He was a guy that I thought
Or I put it this
one
way,
day he could be a decent starter, but I thought it would take 4 years or something. I didn't think that by his second year he'd be.
I thought he was a backup or like a fringe starter, somebody
situational guy
who
maybe that,
or like Geno Smith is now. Yes, he's a starter in the league. Yes, you can win with him, but he was never going to be considered elite. But he's considered elite in my opinion because of what he does with his team.
Yeah, and Hurts, and he's another one. He's only 27. He's without an injury. He's got several very good years left. All right, so now we've reached the top 5, and apparently the top 5 was easier for Talmadge. He said he figured it out in about 12 seconds. This is where it got harder for me.
It took me no time for this. It was bing, bing, bing. I mean, seriously.
See, ranking these guys is where it definitely became more challenging, Talmadge. But let's hear your number 5.
My number 5 is someone you've already mentioned, Matthew Stafford.
Just a quick recap. I had him at number 10, and I felt pretty good about having him there because I think he deserves it. You got him all the way at number 5.
Because to me, he does everything I want a quarterback to do. I'm not as big on the running as you are.
That's true. That's a good point.
To me, he's still got the prettiest ball in the league right now. When you're talking about a pure passer, I think he's the best in the league still.
Wow.
His pocket presence is superior. He's not a runner, but boy, he can slide step. He knows when to move up in the pocket. He can read a defense.
He doesn't take an unnecessary amount of sacks. He's not the most mobile, but yeah, he can.
And I'll tell you this: if he hadn't spent the majority of his career in Detroit, I think he would have had more success in the playoffs. He was with a bad organization for the majority of his career. He's got a golden arm, and he can still fling it with anybody.
At age 37, I mentioned earlier he may not have a lot of time left, but he can still. Right now, he's still.
I love this guy as a player. I think to this day he's still underrated. He's that good to me.
Yeah, and even this season, as of this recording, his last 2 games, he's thrown for like 370, 380 yards in each of his past 2 games. I mean,
You can just turn him loose and say throw it, and you can trust your offense is going to be executed. You can trust he's going to make the right reads. He's not going to get injured. He's going to throw that football straight down the field. He's going to utilize his weapons beautifully. He's going to he's orchestrates his offense.
I do concur.
And yeah, that's why I've got him. Only reason why he's not higher is it's just tough to crack this.
I was about to say, when we're getting to this point, it's just I think I know easily who your other 4 are, but my number 5, another overlap, and one of my favorite players. I am wearing the shirt, Jaden Daniels. I said earlier, hardly any players that have only played a year or 2 cracked this list because I didn't think they really were ready. I think Jaden is. My initial thought was kind of like Talmadge. I was like, as much as I like Jaden, let me separate myself from that. Can I put him in the top 10? He's only done it for 1 year. But then when I looked at the overall skill set, the athleticism, the mental processing, the way the reads he makes, the decisions he makes, the way he is just completely taken that offense to a different level. When I looked at all of that, I said, honestly, yeah, he's top 10. Before I knew where I was going to rank him, I was like, he's at minimum number 10 once I really laid all that out. So no offense to any of these other guys that got drafted when he did, but Jaden's the one that I think's ready.
Yes.
As a rookie last season, 3,568 yards passing, 25 touchdowns, 9 interceptions, 891 rushing yards with 6 touchdowns. He's one, and you said this earlier, and I'll go a little further. This is his second season. I think he's either 24 or 25. He's one that spent a few more years in college. He's 25 right now.
Okay.
He's only his second season. Not only do I think he could potentially crack the top 3, it may be some years for what I'm about to say, and this is not a prediction. I think he's good enough that eventually he could be number 1.
I do too.
One day we could be saying, no, he's number 1 in the league.
Yeah.
He's like definitive. Again, not a prediction. Anything can happen.
No, but I see it.
But
the talent's there.
The talent is there.
And he's so dynamic.
The athleticism's there. And he makes plays sometimes where he doesn't even get a bunch of rushing, but he can keep the play alive because of his scrambling. And then when he does decide to run, he can destroy you. He's just that good. I was a fan of him coming out of college. Didn't care where he got drafted. Then he got drafted by the team that I've become a fan. I was like, okay, that's perfect. Honestly, yeah. So he's my number 5, and I'll say it right now. It may be a matter of time before he's the definitive number 1. It will take a while because these guys we're about to get to are still playing as well. But anyway, Jaden's my number 5. Who do you have at number 4, Talmadge?
My number 4 is the great Cam Ward. No, my number 4.
I'm thankful I didn't have a mouthful of this Dr. Pepper.
My number 4, you probably know. And honestly, I could put him lower because of the recent injury history.
Yeah.
But if you're just talking about reading a defense, getting rid of the ball quickly, and being a threat every time he touches it, you got to go with Joe Burrow still.
Yeah.
Like I say, one more year like this, and I might have to start dropping him because he misses a lot of time.
Yeah, and that's really the only concern with him, though, because like you said, that other stuff is there.
But the processing, I think he's the best processor still in football.
Maybe. He's up there.
He whatever you throw at him, he can read it quickly. He's the master of that offense. He makes their offense go clear.
Well, that's very evident now that he's injured.
Yeah. But like I say, I couldn't put him higher because of the other 3. Now, if he were healthy every year, I could make the argument.
You could.
I still probably have him at 4.
The argument could be made, but yeah.
But he has made it to a Super Bowl. Didn't win it, but he has made it, which Two of the other guys on the list have not yet.
Yeah.
And if that matters to you, you could make the argument. I don't think I'd win the argument, but you could
No,
make
because
it.
by that logic, Jalen Hurts should probably be number 2. He's won a Super Bowl. Stafford's won a, you know what I'm saying?
And he's been to another one as well.
So yeah.
But
so it's not the only factor, but I get what you're saying.
But I'm saying you could, especially the year they did make it. He had a phenomenal year that year.
And that was his second. That was like his second year in the league, wasn't it?
Second or third.
Him, Joe Mixon, Chase.
Because he got hurt his first year. I think it might have been the second year.
I think it was his second, but I could be wrong.
But in any case, So Joe Burrow's my number 4 again. The passing ability, the processing. He's not a runner, but again, he knows how to slide step. He knows how to manipulate the pocket. He's got the quick release. He's got everything you would want.
He's not what you call a mobile quarterback, but he's not completely immobile either. He's not a threat.
And here's the thing. And here's the thing. Like I've said before, you're more into mobility. When I look at, I look more at pocket presence. When you're in the pocket, Tom Brady had pocket presence. He couldn't run worth a lick.
But he did. Yes.
I look at, can he slide step when the rush is coming? Can he get rid of the ball before the rush?
Can he identify the blitz when it's coming? Yeah.
And to me, that's all. It's great if you can tuck it and run. I'm not saying that it's not, but when I'm drafting a quarterback, the first thing I'm looking for is pocket presence, period.
Yeah.
Over arm strength, over any of that. I'm looking for pocket presence, and how quickly can you process? If you can do those two things, I can build an offense around you.
No, and I don't disagree with that because some guys have had cannons for arms. If they can't do those other things you're talking about, how much good does that really do?
And not saying he doesn't have an arm, because
he does,
but it's the quick release and the processing and the pocket presence that makes the difference. So that's my number 4.
Okay, and as I suspected, once we get this close, we do have another overlap. Joe Burrow is my number 4. Everything Talmadge said, I wanted, truthfully, to put Jaden ahead of Joe Burrow, and another year or two, I might be able to justifiably do that. Right now, I just can't.
You might be able to by the end of this year.
Because
Burrow's not playing.
Burrow's not playing, so we'll see what happens. But, Burrow, and he's still only 29. This is his 6th year. Last season, 4,918 yards, 43 touchdown passes, only 9 interceptions.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
The guy is phenomenal when he's healthy. He knows how to orchestrate that offense. He, even though different style quarterback, similar to what we've been talking about with Jaden, in 2 years, he took this team that was a basement team to a Super Bowl. When he's healthy, the talent's all there.
Yes.
Everything you said about the processing and just orchestrate that offense. There's a reason that Chase and Higgins when everybody's healthy, are the best duo of receivers in the league. Big part of that is Joe Burrow getting them the ball in space. And
I'll put it to you like this. They run the same offense in Tennessee right now.
Well, and I'll even say this too. They run the same offense in Cincinnati with a different quarterback, and the results aren't there. Joe Burrow's that important. So, when he's healthy, I'm right on. Obviously, we agree. We both have his number 4. Yeah. So, if he stays healthy, it'd be hard for him to crack the top 3 because of these other 3 guys, but he's always going to be in the conversation. Sure. If he keeps getting injured, he's going to fall behind some of these guys. So, we'll see. But we both got him number 4, obviously, for a reason. All right, Talmadge, who I think if you've been paying attention, you should know who our top 3 is. Yeah. And it's exactly the 3 that I knew we would both have as our top 3.
It's just the order that may be different.
Now I'm curious to see. So
I've got Lamar Jackson at number 3.
At number 3, okay.
He's another guy. I was not a tremendous fan of him coming into the league. Not because I didn't think he was a great player, a great quarterback. And I didn't say athlete, although he was a great athlete. I'm not one of these people that said he's just an athlete. I knew he could play quarterback. I'm not trying to say I didn't know that.
Right.
My concern with him, especially early on in his career, was if you notice, all his passes had to be inside the hash mark because it was always to the tight ends.
Mm-hmm.
He couldn't.
That's why Mark Jackson's numbers have always been what they are.
He did. Oh, Mark Andrews, yeah.
I said Mark Jackson. I'm sorry, Mark Andrews. Yes.
But a clear sign of this was the year he won his first MVP when they played Tennessee in the playoffs and lost. All Tennessee did was take away inside the hash marks and force him to throw the ball to the outside. Couldn't do it. He couldn't do it consistently.
Yeah. And I still remember being shocked that year because that was Lamar's second season but they looked like they could beat anybody in
Yeah.
the league. I knew Tennessee wasn't a joke. That was when Henry was still putting up. But, man, I do remember when they got beat in the playoffs, I was like, wow. Like, I was impressed
If
with
you
the Titans.
if you look at that film, that's all they did. They
Just
took
take
away
away that,
they took
yeah.
away inside the hash and forced him to throw the outside, and then they were disciplined on the run lane. So when he took it and ran, they actually contained him. That's all they did. It wasn't sophisticated at all. He's gotten better at that.
Yes, he really has.
He still ain't great at it. He's good enough.
He's still got room to grow there, but
And
he
so
has improved. Yes.
for my that's the only reason why I put him at 3. If I knew he was better at throwing outside the hash marks, well, I don't know if I'd put him at 2 because
It's still hard, but I understand what you're saying.
But that if you ask for my reason,
Now you
for
see
putting
why
him,
it was so hard for me to
Yeah.
rank my top 5. This is the stuff I'm talking about.
If you ask me the reason why I put him at 3,
Yeah.
that's what I'll tell you.
Yeah.
But even if he fixed that, I don't know if he'd move up.
It
That's
would
the one
be
thing.
hard.
That's the one thing I'm pointing at.
Okay.
But like I said, you could have it 1, 2, or 3, and I'm not going to argue with you at all. At
yeah.
all. Period.
Well, I still want to. We're gonna finish the episode, but at this point, I'm fairly convinced our top 4s are identical. My number 3 is also Lamar Jackson. If you know the style of quarterback I'm a fan of, or maybe you just have heard me say, he's also one of my favorite players.
Yeah.
He's been one of my favorite players for a long time. If Jaden didn't play for my favorite team, Lamar might still. They're kind of still equal. I'm gonna be honest. Much as I like Jaden, Lamar's still. They're kind of 1A, 1B, and it could flop. I like Lamar a heck of a lot. I will say, and you probably know this, and some of our audience probably does, he does hold the NFL record for career rushing yards by a quarterback, 6,291. Broke it pretty easily, and Michael Vick was a darn good athlete as well. He also has a single season, Lamar that is, rushing yards by a quarterback, 1,206 in 2019. Real quick, and then I'll get back to Lamar. Do you know who has the NFL single game record for rushing yards by a quarterback?
No.
Justin Fields, 178 yards against the Miami Dolphins in 2022.
He's a running back. Doesn't shock me.
He's another one of these guys
He's a running back. Doesn't shock me. You didn't hear what I said. He's a running back.
I know. I heard what you said.
I'm not a Justin Fields guy. He's a running back.
Oh, I know. I'm a fan of Justin Fields. Talmadge is not all that impressed with him.
He's a running back.
So next year, do you think he'll be on your top 10 list? No, I can't
As
answer
running
that
back.
for y'all.
He might be number
You
10
think he's a
running
top
back.
10 running back?
He might be a top 10 running back, yeah.
Well, Lamar, and that was a talk we already mentioned earlier coming into the league. Oh, he's going to have to move to receiver, all this. I didn't necessarily think so, but I knew it was a possibility because even if I disagreed with it, that didn't mean anything. I thought a team might move him to receiver.
And I would put, not to cut you off, but I will say this. Not only did I think he was not a running back, like I said, and I wasn't the biggest Lamar fan for a lot of reasons, but that wasn't the reason. He proved to me in college he was a quarterback. I'm not going to buy that he wasn't.
Oh, yeah.
But I'll take it a step further. Well, no, I won't. Go ahead. Never mind. Go
now I want to know what your step further was. Anyway, I thought he could play quarterback in the league, but I did kind of think, everybody's saying it, a team could move him somewhere, and I wouldn't have been that shocked. And then even after he started, I would say probably up until at least last year, people were still saying, well, he can't pass. He's not a passer. Last season, 4,172 yards, 41 touchdowns, only 4 interceptions.
That's fantastic.
I don't care about the guy's throwing motion or if some of it's unconventional. The yards, like the numbers prove it. He can pass. And he also had 915 rushing yards last year. It's not like he's abandoned that aspect of his game.
He's proven himself.
So he is an all-around quarterback. I think we can go from saying he's a good athlete to saying he's a great quarterback. He also he's only 28 years old. This is his 8th season. All that, the risk with some of these guys, with him and Jaden, the injury risk is a little bit bigger because you're taking more hits. But if he stays healthy and continues to improve, he will be, again, like you a while ago, it's hard for me to say he's going to move up this list because those other guys stay healthy,
I could see him.
We
moving
don't know, but he
But
could.
yeah, but
And even if he stays at number 3 for the next 10 years, I think that's a good possibility. He's always going to be in the discussion if he stays healthy, because he just really is that good. And his attributes, always athleticism was the biggest thing. But he's become actually a capable passer. With you, I agree. If his weakness is still throwing outside of the house, and I think it would open up their offense even more if he did develop that more, and he might in a couple of years. We might be going, man, you remember that episode where we talked about...
Like you say, he's already getting better at it.
Yeah.
I would say throwing outside the hash, and also, and no disrespect to him, I'm just going by what I've seen, he still has a tendency to make the one wrong play in the big game at the wrong time.
Okay, I can see that.
And I don't want to put that on him completely. I'm not one of these people that, saying that totally, but you can't argue with the fact that it's happened.
I was about to say,
I think he can overcome it. In fact, I expect him to overcome it.
But you can't say
But
that
as of
happened.
now, it's happened.
That's valid. You like him or not, and I do. I'm a big fan. That has happened. I can debate where I think he ranks and how much I like him. I can't deny what's happened. Like you could say that has
And
happened.
it does appear that a couple of teams, and I hate this phrase because we don't really know, but it's starting to look like a couple of teams are in his head a little bit. Pittsburgh and Kansas City. It's just for some reason.
Yeah.
And maybe even Baltimore now. I mean,
Buffalo. I was about to say Buffalo, I think, is in the conversation.
But definitely Kansas City and Pittsburgh for whatever reason.
It's almost like some guys really get up and raise their level for certain teams. It's almost like he's got something in his mind.
I think he just puts too much pressure on himself
because
now people are starting to say
Right.
that, and so now it's in his head a little bit. I think if he can overcome that, which I think he can, and I think he will, then all of a sudden he may even go to another level, which is hard to believe because he's pretty high right now.
It is, but yeah, we'll all wait and see.
He is the ultimate weapon at quarterback. I will say that. It doesn't mean I think he's the best quarterback, but
no, because we both had him at number 3.
right.
Yeah.
But if you just look at what he can do, he is the video game quarterback, really.
Yeah.
Truthfully.
And not that it can't be done, but it's hard to game plan for somebody now that his passing is improved.
Yes.
And he can still kill you running the ball. So,
Yes.
All right. I think we both know who our number 2 is, but go ahead and talk about him first.
Josh Allen.
Wait, what? I'm kidding. Go ahead.
You could put him at number 1. I'm not going to lie. You could put him there. Just so impressed with him, though, because Buffalo has good talent around him.
Yeah, but you take
But
him out of
every
that
year it's
equation.
gone down, in my opinion, a little bit. 3 years ago was better than 2 years ago. 2 years ago was better than last year talent-wise. I think their talent has dropped off a little bit every single year. Not a lot, but there's been
I
a
see
slight
what you
drop
mean,
off.
though.
But because of him, the performance of the team doesn't drop off.
No, he's been the constant.
He can throw it with the best of them. He can run it with the best of them. And he's the best type of runner because he's a dynamic runner because you can make design runs for him. He can be a featured runner. But also
6'5", 237. He's tight end size.
But he's got good enough speed to where he can still get to the edge too. But I'm also saying, because we've talked about 2 types of runners even in this conversation.
Mm-hmm.
We've talked about the dynamic runner that is like the Lamar. We've talked about the runner who you wouldn't call dynamic, but the Herbert who on third down, if he's got to get a first down, he'll get it for you. Josh Allen's both.
Yeah,
He's the dynamic
100%.
runner, and he's the runner. We need a 4th down, 3 yards. I'll get it. 6 yards.
He's
I'll
big enough
get
and
it.
strong enough
He
to do
can
that, but he
both.
also can burn you with speed.
And he's got the arm. And he's gotten better at reading defenses.
He's got a lot better.
You can design an offense completely around him as they've done.
Oh, yeah.
And he can carry it. And as good as all these other quarterbacks are, there's only 2 or 3 quarterbacks on this list that you can design an offense around, and they can just completely, unequivocally carry the offense. And if you move them off the team plummets.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if Buffalo would plummet, but I'll promise you this:
They might.
they'd be a 10-17. They wouldn't be a 13-14.
No, if you just remove Josh Allen and you put somebody who didn't quite make, and we'll talk about some guys that we almost left off, but you even put you said earlier, Geno Smith. Take Josh Allen and put Geno Smith there. Geno Smith's a capable quarterback. What's that team?
They're going to be somewhere between 10-7 and 7-10. Somewhere in that range.
So my number 2 is also Josh Allen. As I said, apparently it was easy for Talmadge to rank these. It was not easy for me, but we come out with our same top 4. Real quick, I'll say 2024, Josh Allen. The Bills went 13-4. He had 3,731 yards passing, 28 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. Also had, I think, over 700 yards rushing. He, like you said, he is. You can build an offense around him. There's just so many things he can do. His completion percentage as a rookie was 52.8. His second year was 58.8. So you talked about him getting better reading defenses. My goodness, he has. Because now he's throwing, 63 to 66% each year. The yardage is there. He's had four seasons of over 4,000 yards passing already. Like I said, big enough, strong enough, fast enough. When he did, I will say, and there's just a few guys on this list, at the top few, that I would say what I'm about to say about. When Josh Allen decides to take over a game, there's little that can be done to prevent him. Yeah, he just
does it.
When he decides to take over, there's little, if anything, that really can be done.
The one reason why I put him a little bit ahead of Lamar, I think Josh Allen's a little more decisive. When he makes a decision,
I can see that. Yeah,
he does it with conviction. Sometimes Lamar does, sometimes Lamar doesn't.
Yeah.
And I just see more conviction. But it's by the narrowest of margins.
Oh, I'm the same way. I could easily have put Lamar number 2. I almost did. I was the same way. And I don't know if confidence is the right word. I don't know if that's what it is. But it almost looks like Josh Allen just plays with a level of confidence that hardly anybody does.
And that's why I used the word conviction. Because I didn't want to say confident.
Because I don't know if that's
But they're similar words, because conviction means I'm committed. But once I make a decision, when you're not as confident, you're not as convicted, as decisive.
Yeah.
So we're saying very similar things.
Pretty much.
I just didn't want to use confidence because that makes it sound like I'm slighting the guy, and I don't.
Right, and again, I don't know if that's it. So I was like, I don't know.
I get what you're saying. No, I totally get it.
But it kind of looks, and maybe it's not even a negative to Lamar. It almost looks like Josh Allen just plays on a level of confidence that hardly anyone else does. So before we get to our number 1, which I think everybody can guess at this point, you said off camera that you had 17 guys that you considered. Yeah. There were a few that were hard for me to leave out as well. Talmadge, why don't you tell us some of your guys that didn't quite make the cut?
I'll say all of them, but I won't give reasons.
In depth.
I'll just give. Aaron Rodgers, just because he's Aaron Rodgers. Now, we know that he's not the player he used to be, but...
he's
Tua Tagovailoa, because when he is healthy, he's a good, quick... He gets with the ball quick, and he can still toss it. He holds on the ball too long when he can't read a defense.
Yeah.
And he struggles there. C.J. Stroud, but that's basically just because the rookie year was so impressive. You know it's in there.
You know
he
it's
just
there.
hasn't shown it. Jordan Love was hard for me to leave off. Not as consistent yet, but he's real close.
But he's.
I put Darnold into consideration just because he's really just because he's turned his career around.
Look at the growth.
I wanted to put the name in there just for that reason. Brock Purdy, just because of the team's success, you can't deny it. And
he does orchestrate that offense really well.
And then my other person was Dak Prescott. When you look at, he does put up when he's healthy, he does put up numbers every year. His team does win 13 games a lot of years. And even this year, if you look at his numbers, they're hard to argue. And so I thought it was fair to consider him just because you can't argue with what he does when he's healthy. And so those were the guys that just missed the cut, but you could have convinced me to put them in there.
Yeah, and I will say for me, the biggest 2 that almost were my number 10 were Geno Smith and Dak Prescott.
I almost had Geno on my list too, but I let last week's game kind of mess with me.
Geno just since he was with the Seahawks and forward, I think he's showing a different quarterback.
For the same reason I said Sam Darnold. You could make the same argument for Geno Smith. And again, I almost did.
Darnold's another one I considered. Prescott, like you said, Cowboys fan or not Cowboys fan, when he is healthy, he's pretty darn good. He can put up numbers. He can do damage. Some other guys that I didn't heavily consider. I mean, Stroud and Jordan Love. I thought about some guys that I think one day could be on this list, but I just couldn't put them yet. and that's Caleb Williams, Bo Nix, Drake May. They haven't done enough yet. I think maybe the potential is there. It's the only reason I even
either one.
Really? I said three guys.
I'm more of Caleb Williams.
Okay.
Bo Nix, I think he's going to end up being a career backup, but that's just my opinion.
Wow. Okay. Those are guys that I could see. And then, believe it or not, the one guy, well, I said Geno Smith and Dak Prescott were the closest. There's one guy in the league right now that if things break the right way and things go well with injuries and whatever and stuff around him, I could see this guy cracking this top 10, again, contingent upon if Stafford retires, what happens with some of these other guys, is Trevor Lawrence. I'm not the biggest fan of him, and I don't blame you if you want to disagree. He hasn't lived up to what he did coming out of college, but when he's healthy, I think the talent's there. He's still only 26 years old. I could see a path for one day him being in this conversation.
I thought of him for a nanosecond. He did because I went through every.
I thought of him a little bit longer.
Because I went through every team, and I did like, well, you could make the argument because he's a great athlete.
I'm saying one day I could see. Yeah,
he's a great athlete. He's a better runner than people think. He can supposedly he's a pocket passer. We haven't really seen it. I don't blame him for that though, because every year there's turnover there.
I was about to say that's hard. Yeah.
So it wouldn't shock me if he.
Yeah.
But I can't do it yet. But yeah.
No. I mean, so Geno Smith and Dak Prescott almost made my top 10. Trevor didn't, but I did have to stop and go, man, he's still only 26, and if he's healthy and they protect him and they keep some weapons around, I could see him maybe cracking this list.
The one person I'm surprised we didn't mention for even considering is Kyler Murray. Because when he's on, he's on, and he's dynamic, and when he's on, but he gets hurt a lot. And usually, as the season goes on, because of his size, his performance drops off.
That is true.
So I couldn't quite put him there, but when he's on, he's dynamic.
No, I don't disagree.
And he'll probably torch my Titans this weekend.
Me being a fan of the athletic quarterback, you would have thought I really would have said I considered him, but for everything you said, I was just like, I can't put him. But he's another one like Trevor. He could be in this list one day, maybe. We'll see.
I think we're about to get the wrap-up sign here.
Huh?
I think we're about to get the wrap-up.
It's not even Christmas time.
He
ought to be happy we're about to talk about his favorite player.
We're about to get the wrap-up sign.
We go.
No, you're getting it going.
I was about to say, I don't think that's what. This ought to be the time where he's finally paying attention and excited to what we're talking about. Well, on the count of three, let's just both go ahead and say our number one, Talmadge. 1, 2, 3.
Roger, stop.
Do not attempt to adjust your television. We will return to our regular scheduled podcast once we have corrected the host of his mistake.
It's Patrick Mahomes. The main reason why is because we're in his house.
We're shooting at Chris's house. You can say, I mean, the reasons are fairly obvious.
Yeah.
You touch on what you want to touch on, then I'll.
Well, he's got all the athletic ability. We know this. I still don't think he gets credit for a strong arm anymore, but coming into the league, he had one of the strongest arms.
And he still does, but
ever.
yeah.
But no one ever talks about that anymore because now you talk about his processing, his escapability, his pocket presence, the winning, the success, the leadership, the improvising, the making the big play at the right time, all the fourth quarter comebacks, all the comebacks under 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Really anything you could name. I don't think we appreciate him enough. And it's so funny. A couple of years ago, I thought, I'm not going to say they overappreciated him, but I was just like, overload on Patrick Mahomes. We know he's good. Shut the heck up. But now I'm reversed. I'm like, I think it's going backwards.
The perception has kind of changed.
I don't think he's getting enough of the respect that he should get. And he still gets a ton of respect, but I think he should get more.
Yeah.
He's that good. No one's as accomplished as him this early in his career. Tom Brady was throughout his career.
Yeah,
but I'm just saying,
Mahomes,
every year they're a threat to go to the Super Bowl. It's just unbelievable what he does.
As long as he's on the field, they're a threat to win any game.
I'll never pick against him in a big game. I'm sorry. And until he starts losing them, if they're playing Baltimore, I'm picking him. If they're playing Buffalo, I'm picking him. Even though they've lost 2 Super Bowls. Two Super Bowls now.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm still picking
Well,
him every single time.
I was going to say, they might have lost to the Eagles in the Super Bowl last year. That doesn't deter me. Yeah, I'm kind of the same way. Obviously, if you've been following the channel, my producing partner, Chris Black, is the actual Chiefs fan and Mahomes fan, but it doesn't matter. Like, I can't deny, like, a lot of what Talmadge said, but I'll go a little bit different. Well, first of all, I'll say last year he did have 3,928 yards passing, 26 touchdowns, 11 interceptions. Those numbers don't blow you away, but the guy's gone over 5,000 yards twice already, and this is only his 9th season. He's just now 30 years old. He has blatantly said he wants to play until he's 40. Unless a serious injury occurs, there's no reason he can't play on a high level until he's 40.
Yeah.
The accomplishments, if you know me, you know I don't place as much value on that. It's a team accomplishment, but like these other quarterbacks we named, you take Patrick out of this offense. Andy Reid's still a legendary coach, but if you take Patrick out of that equation, they're not the same team.
Andy Reid would find a way to get this team to the playoffs.
Oh, yeah.
Andy Reid would not find a way to get this team to the Super Bowl without Patrick Mahomes.
Not unless he had Josh Allen or one of these other elite guys.
Oh, that's what I'm saying. I mean,
yeah.
You remove Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid's still going to make you a good team.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, you're still going to be battling for the wild card, but you're not winning Super
Right.
Bowls. You're not winning Super Bowls.
No.
And Patrick Mahomes to me was more impressive last year. All the injuries. And yes, his numbers were down, but when the game was on the line, who else do you want? It's him every time.
And I'll add to that, but I got a little bit different perspectives, so just hear me out. I told you ranking my top 5 was extremely difficult, especially the top 3. I would say 2 to 3 years ago, in my opinion and probably everybody else's,
I know where you're
it
going.
was Mahomes and
Easily.
everybody else.
Easily.
There wasn't a question as to who the best quarterback in the league was. There wasn't one. Today, I had to give a lot of thought between him, Josh Allen, and Lamar Jackson.
I still didn't, but I get where you're going.
Because the gap has narrowed quite a bit, in my opinion.
But I think it's
those
narrowed.
other guys are phenomenal.
It's narrowed because they've gotten better, but it's also narrowed because Kansas City has injuries like the last couple of years, and they have them this year too. And I think if they're healthy, the other guys have narrowed the gap.
Yes,
but he still would be.
Well, but here's that, and that plays into my point. The actual biggest reason I still have him as number 1, because I spent a lot of time. I was literally like, I could say Josh Allen's actually surpassed. I could say Lamar's passed. It was like shuffling a deck of 3 cards there for quite days. I kept going back and forth. The reason I finally settled on, yes, even though the gap has narrowed significantly, I still will put Patrick Mahomes number 1. His numbers may have been down a little bit these last 2 years, but look at all the injuries. Look at the overall talent. Travis Kelce is still a good tight end. He's not near the weapon he used to be. He's getting older. He just is. Since they lost Tyreek Hill, they have not had a legit deep threat receiver. Rashee Rice starts to emerge, and he gets suspended and injured. They drafted Xavier Worthy. There's been so much turnover there, and yet Mahomes is still this good. That's why I finally was like, I can't not put him number 1, because it doesn't matter how many injuries and how many turnovers and the fact that they haven't had a consistent rushing game. Pacheco was for 1 year, then broke his leg. They just still keep moving along. It almost doesn't seem to matter who you put on that field with him. He just continues to find a way to succeed.
And I'll add one more thing to that. They have a good defense, and Patrick plays to that.
Oh, yes.
He could be the type to where I'm the star. I'm used to running the show. They depend on me. In his mindset, he could force stuff. But he knows, I have a defense still. I have a coach still. I might have to play a little more conservatively, but when that game is on the line, I'll turn on the Patrick magic.
When I need
and
to
that's
rip
when
it
he
loose,
does.
yeah.
And so I respect him for not overthinking it and getting outside of himself, because a lot of quarterbacks would be like, since we have all these injuries, I have to do more. He doesn't. He relies on that defense. He relies on his coach, and he still plays to what he sees. He doesn't force it.
Oh, no. He
doesn't.
And he will make passes. You talked about the arm strength. Beyond the arm strength, because there's other guys that do have cannons, he will make plays that hardly anybody else can even think of.
One thing we haven't mentioned, arm angle.
Arm. That's what I mean. That's where I'm going. Arm angle, pitching it to the side.
He'll figure
slide.
it out.
He can make the improvised plays better than any quarterback I've ever have seen.
I'll tell you right now, unless he just falls off a cliff, we can have this conversation the next 3 years. It's going to be Patrick Mahomes. That's how much I respect what he's done.
It'd be hard.
It's going to be him.
Well,
unless he just falls off a cliff.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. It's going to be hard not to. These other guys, we talked about Jaden Daniels. He'll narrow that gap some. Allen and Jackson are going to be in the conversation. And no, I don't mean the country star. I mean Allen and Jackson. They'll be in the conversation. But yes, it's hard to imagine.
The only reason why I might mark him down somewhat is that Kermit the Frog voice. But other than that,
that's kind of hard to overlook for you.
He's number one.
If that's all that's holding him back, hey, I think you got to feel pretty good about it this year. So, all right. Now, so before we wrap up, Talmadge, we've talked about the top 10 quarterbacks. So, if you've been following the channel, you may be aware of a very important decision Talmadge recently made to accept Jesus as his Lord and Savior. So, talking about top 10 quarterbacks, I want to go real quickly through what we refer to as the 10 Commandments, and then I got a question for you. So these are from the book of Exodus. God gave Moses on stone tablets, and depending on the translation, some of these words will be a little different, but essentially, 10 Commandments in order. You shall have no other gods before me. You shall not make for yourself an image to bow down to, so you should not worship idols. You should not misuse the name of the Lord your God in vain. Remember the Sabbath day by keeping it holy. Honor your dad and mom. You shall not murder. You shall not commit adultery. You shall not steal. You shall not give false testimony against your neighbor. You shall not covet anything that belongs to your neighbor. So, and I can go back through them again, or you can read it if you want to. But my question out of just curiosity is,
number one.
Which of these 10, that's the toughest one for you?
I thought you were going to ask which one do I cherish the most.
Oh, okay. So you cherish number one the most?
Yeah. Because that's where to me, that's where it all starts.
I concur. And I think there's a reason that one's number one on the list. My question was actually going to be, which of these do you think are the most challenging or most intriguing? Number one, I would concur. That's where it's all got to start. Without that one, these other ones don't really matter.
I guess using the Lord's name in vain. Only because it's part of my vernacular. We all say, because I've even heard people say you shouldn't say, oh my gosh.
I've heard people say that. I don't make as big a deal because
if that's true, then that's a big struggle for me because I'm trying to not say oh my God anymore, and I'm saying oh my gosh, but now I'm realizing well some people say that's wrong too. So
I think that you got to go by your own conviction with that. To me, GOSH is not the name of God.
Thought, but I just heard recently that
I've heard some people say that because I've heard some people say, well, you're just substituting it. Yeah. Well, by that logic, if I smash my thumb and yell, ah, people can say, you meant the F word. You're just substituting. We can get a little out of control is kind of what I'm saying. If somebody feels convicted to not say gosh, then go ahead. I'm not going to tell you you're wrong.
But I would still say that one because every now and then, oh my God still comes out my mouth, or even OMG, and I'm trying to avoid doing
any of that's become so common in our society, most people don't think that it's wrong. You're actually using God's name in a, how would I say, I don't want to say it, I guess an unholy manner, an irreverent manner. Okay. You're not, to me, if you use the name of God, you should either be speaking to him or speaking about him in a reverent, respectful manner. That's the way I've always looked at it. Like people that use it as an expression, well, I wasn't really cussing. Just because you don't put the D word with it doesn't mean you're not misusing the name of God. So that one hasn't been a personal struggle for me, but it is one that I think a lot of people kind of convolute what it means and how serious it actually can be. So, okay, I was just curious because, I mean, a lot of these things and Jesus, and we won't go for another hour. I'm about to wrap this up. But when Jesus came along, one thing he did say is, I'm not here to replace the law, but I'm here to fulfill it. And in one of his sermons, he said, you've heard it said, you shall not murder. But I tell you, if you hate a man in your heart, you've already committed murder.
Oh, wow.
So he doesn't mean literally, but he basically means that's the same sin. You've heard it said you should not commit adultery, but I tell you, if you look lustfully upon a woman, you've committed adultery with her in your heart. So he was kind of taking these commandments and say, let me put it on another level for you. Like hating someone is still a sin. Lusting after a woman is still a sin. They're not the same physical acts. Jesus wasn't saying that, but he was trying to make the point of, I don't even want you doing that. So anyway, just something for us to all think about. Sometimes I tell people, when God handed these to Moses, he didn't say that these are the 10 kind of okay suggestions. No, they're the 10 commandments. Mm-hmm. They're not just kind of okay suggestions. So, all right. Well, thank you all so much for stopping by. Let us know your own top 10 lists of NFL quarterbacks. There were some guys that were hard for us to leave out. Maybe you disagree with the order of some of our lists. We had the identical top 4. I wasn't quite sure how that would turn out, but let us know who your own list is. Let us know if you disagree. Tell us in the comments. Thank y'all, though, for coming by. If you did like the episode, please show that by clicking the like button. If you've not already done so, please go ahead and subscribe to the channel. It really will help enable me to continue to bring you this type of content, as well as many other types. So, for Talmadge Rodger Varnado III, I am Jared Johnson, the Jared J. Hope y'all have a great week, and hope I see you again real soon. Yeah, I kind of want